Who remembers these? It's a Tamagotchi. They made a comeback this year maybe, or last year. I wonder how long I'll keep it alive before I kill it. So you've probably seen this effect done before. This one. It's called the vertigo shot, or the dolly zoom. It kind of screws with your perception in your mind because things are moving that don't look like they should be moving, and it just kind of confuses your mind a little bit. It also looks really cool. I've had a couple of people comment before on some videos where I've done little B-roll segments that have it in, and they wonder how I do it, so I'm gonna show you. This effect was actually made famous by Hitchcock in a film called Vertigo, which gives it its name, the Vertigo effect. It does look like it could be done with CGI or some crazy effects, but it's actually done all in camera. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, some big pointers for you before we get into how to do this effect. Autofocus can be used, but I would recommend not using it. The autofocus might pick up something that you don't want it to, and then it screws with the whole shot. So use manual focus if you can. You will need a lens that has a manual zoom on it. And when I mean a manual zoom, I mean something like this. This is a 70 to 200, maybe a bit extreme. It'd be something like this, 16 to 35. The lens moves, it goes from 16 to 35. You want to make sure that you're not having too much vertical or horizontal movement. You want to try and stay as smooth as you can. So handheld if you've got in-body image stabilization, otherwise use a stabilizer or a gimbal. Actually, the other name that's given to this effect is the dolly zoom, and that is obviously because a dolly is used for it too. Dolly, if you don't know, is basically a tripod on wheels. You just put your camera on it and you're able to move forwards, backwards, left, right very smoothly, kind of like you could on a stabilizer, and they use those on film sets. So that's how it gets its other name, the dolly zoom. I don't have a dolly, so I use, in this case, handheld, or you can use a Xeon crane. Use a wide angle if you can. You want to be able to see as much in the frame as possible. It adds to the effect of your shot by being able to see more movement in the frame. Just looks better. And you do want to be able to see what's going on in the background for this, so you don't want to just blur out that background. You don't want that buttery bokeh in this. This is probably one of the very few instances that I'm not going to want to have bokeh. So pick an f8 or an f11, something like that, and that will get you the depth of field you need. You want a deep depth of field opposed to a shallow depth of field. Shallow depth of field being something like an f1.8, deep depth of field or a larger depth of field, f8, f11, something like that. That'll work well. So this shot is actually really easy to do. You're going to have a subject like I had in the clip I showed you earlier, and you're just going to move towards the subject. But as you're moving towards the subject, you're actually going to be zooming out. Okay? So let's say you start at 35mm in my case, you're going to be moving towards that subject and then zooming out to 16. You can do the reverse of that as well, which is moving forwards and zooming out. No. Moving backwards and zooming in. So you'd start at 16, move backwards, but zoom into 35. The goal of this is to make sure that the subject is staying pretty much in the same distance from the camera, but the background's depth, the background's perception is changing, which gives you that crazy effect. So, subject, you're going to be moving away as this is zooming in, or you're going to be moving towards this as it's zooming out. Make sense? So I tried with both of these. I tried on a Xeon crane and I also tried handheld. As I've got the A7iii, the handheld actually works well because it's got IBIS, in-body image stabilization. I tried with the Xeon crane as well. One thing I will say is the 1635 has a really nice but firm zoom ring, so it's a little bit more challenging to keep the crane stabilized and not moving around as you're zooming in. Even little movements like this will throw it off a little bit. So that was a little bit more tricky. The other thing is you can use a power zoom if you have one of those, like the kit lens that comes with a Sony camera or the 18105 power zoom for APS-C that has a little power zoom on the side. You could use that too, that will work well. And if you want to get really fancy, you can do it with your drone too, like this. But that's another whole video in itself. Alright, so there we go. A quick tutorial on how you can get that same vertigo effect and put those in your videos too. Thanks for watching today. If you like what you saw, click that little like button down below. Subscribe to my channel if you're not part of it already. If you want to get notifications about when I actually post content, normally weekly, hit the bell and that will get sent straight to your inbox or your notification screen or your phone or your tablet or your MacBook, your PC, wherever you get notifications sent, it'll send them there. Alright, I'll see you guys next week in the next video. See ya.